So this is lesson number 90 in Algebra 1, and it's called Word Problems with Two Statements of Equality. So again, another lesson on story problems. Alright, so let's look at 90.1 and just start with the examples. Together, Charles and Nell picked 92 quarts of berries. So Charles and Nell together picked 92 quarts of berries. If Charlie picked 6 more berries or quarts than Nell picked, how many quarts did each of them pick? So this is the question. The number of quarts Charlie picked plus the number of quarts, whoops, that's not a 0. Number of quarts, who is this other guy? Oh, Nell picked is 92. Alright, what do we know about how many these guys picked? One of them picked more than the other. So let's see which one. Charles picked 6 more than Nell. Did he pick the same amount as Nell? Are those equal? No. He picked 6 more than he did. So what happens if I put plus 6 here? Are they equal now? No, because now Charles picked 12 more because he already picked 6 more, and then I added a 6 to what he had already picked. So in order to make them equal, I have to add 6 to Nell, because Nell didn't pick as many as Charles did. But by adding 6, the amount he picked less than Charles, now they both picked the same amount. Okay, so if Charles picked 40, then Nell's picked 34. But if I add 6 to his, now they've picked the same amount. Okay? So really important for you to get that down. Alright, let's look at example 90.2 and we'll do a few of these problems. The one with Charles and Nell, we weren't really solving a problem there. We were just trying to get you to understand the equality part of it. Okay, so the number of boys in Sarah's class exceeded the number of girls by 7. So the number of boys and the number of girls, are they equal? No, the number of boys exceeded the number of girls by 7. Which means there were 7 more boys than girls. So in order to make those equal, I have to add 7 girls, because now they're equal. So for example, let's say that there were 21 boys and 14 girls. That means the boys exceeded the girls by 7. In order for these to be equal, I have to add 7 girls, and now the number in the classroom is both equal. Alright. If there were a total of 29 pupils in the class, how many were boys and how many were girls? Well, if we took the number of boys plus the number of girls, that would give me 29. That gives me how many people were in the class. Circled in red there. 29 pupils. Alright, so we know that this here is the number of girls, but we have to change this so that it is also a number of girls. So number of boys equals NG plus 7. So instead of NB, we're going to use NG plus 7. We're going to change the variable. Since they're both equal to each other, we said they're equal up here, I can exchange what they are. So I'll take the number of boys plus the number of girls equals 29. So if I take my girls and add them, that gives me 2 NGs plus 7 equals 29. Okay. Now I move things up so I have a little bit more room here. And I subtract 7 from both sides, and I've got 2 NGs equal 22. Divide by 2, divide by 2. The number of girls is 11, which means the number of boys is going to be, well, there's 29 total, So the number of boys is going to have to be 18, so that when I add these two together I get 29. Okay, let's look at 90.3. Okay, old Philip cut a 38-meter rope into two pieces. The long piece was 9 meters longer than the short piece. What were the two lengths? So he cuts two pieces. He's got a long piece and a short piece, and if he adds the long piece and the short piece together, he gets 38. Well, let's compare the long and the short. Are they equal to each other? No, the long piece is longer by 9 meters. So in order to make it equal to the short one, we have to add 9 meters to the short one. Now they're the same length. So now, wherever we see an L, we're going to put that in its place. Remember, those are S's, not 5's. Add my S's together. And subtract 9. And I get 2S equals 29. Divide by 2, divide by 2. And the length of my short one is 29 over 2. What is that? That is 14 and a half. Okay. The long one then is 14 and a half plus 9. So the long one is going to be 23.5 because I just took S as 14.5, put it in here, added 9, and that gave me the length of the long one. Okay, this one's a little bit different, but it's really not any harder. The sum of two numbers is 72. So if we've got two numbers and we're going to add them up, let's say that one is bigger than the other. So the large number plus the small number is going to be 72. The difference of the numbers is 26. So it's going to be the large number minus the small one equals 26. Now I knew that the large one was subtracting the small one because we got a positive number. If this would have been negative, it would have been the small number minus the large one. So, for instance, 30 minus 15, large minus small, is 15. But if I put the small one first, I get negative 15. So because it's a positive number, I know that it's the large one minus the small one. Alright, so there are my two equations there. Okay. Now this one seems simple enough because I have a positive and a negative, so I can use elimination here and get 2L equals, because those cancel, 8 and 9, divide by 2, divide by 2, L equals 49. And the small one is whatever 49 plus something equals 72, and that gives you your small number then of 23, because when you add these together you get your 72 there. Okay, this next one seems a little bit confusing. This is example 90.5, but look at it one piece at a time. The greater of two numbers. So we have a greater number and we have a smaller number. Are they equal? No, because if they were, one wouldn't be greater and one wouldn't be smaller. But it says that the greater one is 16 bigger than the smaller. So in order to make them equal again, I have to add 16 to the smaller, and now the greater and the smaller are equal because I added 16 to the smaller. Okay, so I've got that. Let's see here. The sum is 4 less their sum. Okay, so if we take this one and add them up, that would be the sum, right? So the sum is G plus S is 4 less than 3 times the smaller. So, is the greater plus the smaller equal to 3 times the smaller? No, it says their answer is 4 less. That means when I take these two and add them together, I'm going to get a number 4 less than 3 times the smaller. So this is going to be 4 less. I want it to be equal. Well, if it's 4 less, then if I add 4, now it's not 4 less, is it? It's equal. So I can do that if I'm going to say that they're equal there. And I am going to say that they're equal, so that's what I get. Well, my first equation here says wherever I see a g, I can put an s plus 16 in its place, and that's what I'm going to do here. So I just rewrote this second equation. Alright, so that gives me 2s plus 20, because I had these two, equals 3s. Subtract 2s from both sides. Those go away, and I get 20 equals 1s, or s is 20. So I've got that. Now I just take my 20 right here, put it in there, add 16, and that'll give me my g. So my g then is 36. Okay, one more. Alright, this one seems a little bit tricky. Well, it is a little bit tricky. We've got a ratio of 5 to 4. So the two numbers we're looking for has a ratio of 5 to 4. So that means that their ratio of my first number over my second number has a ratio of 5 to 4. So for example, that could be 10 to 8, right? Because 10 to 8 is the ratio 5 to 4. It reduces to 5 to 4. Not saying that that's what it is, but that could be what it is, because that is a ratio of 5 to 4. Alright, so let's see what else we have. The sum of the numbers, if I took these two and added them together, so n1 plus n2 equals 63. What are the numbers? Well, there's my two equations right there, and now I just have to figure out how to solve it. So what I would do is I would take my ratio here and I would do cross multiplying. So 5n2 equals 4n1. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to isolate one of these numbers here. I'm either going to get that by itself or that. So let's just get the one on the left by itself by dividing by 5, by dividing by 5. Let's cancel. So n2 equals 4n1 over 5. So now whenever I see an n2 in this equation here, I can put a 4n1 over 5 there. So I'm going to have n1 plus, I hit a wrong button, so I don't know what you're getting or what kind of garbledy stuff is being played between when I touch the button in here, but ignore it all. Okay, so that plus that equals 63, because what I did is instead of this n2, since n2 equals this, I took this and put it in here. So now I have an n1 and an n1. And that's what I want. So I've got a doggone fraction. So if I multiply this whole thing by 5, that gets rid of my fraction, doesn't it? 5 times 4n1 over 5 equals 63 times 5, which is 315. Okay, so now I have 5n1 plus 4n1, because those cancel, equals 315, or 9n1 equals 315, and n1 then is 35. 35 times 9 is 315. That gives me my n2 then of 28, because I have, clear over here, that when I have this number and this number I get 63. Well, if I know n1 is 35 plus 28 is going to give me 63. And that's it for lesson number 90. So again, they're going to give you problems exactly like these. So pay attention to what you're doing. I'm not going to give you any that are any harder. They're just like this. So that's it for problem set 90.